So welcome. Welcome to our third class in our Alchemy course, our New Year Alchemy course. So this week we are looking at or investigating and understanding our mental body a lot more deeply. Probably some of you have done some level of self-examination of your thoughts, your thought patterns, your belief systems and all of that. But we're going to be trying to look a little bit more about the esoteric basis of what our mind is. So it gets quite complicated because in different traditions and different ways that we express, we use the word mind and mental body in different ways. But what the part I'm interested in today, we've discussed previously that our personality is made up of this physical, emotional, and mental basis. So we have these three components of our personality which change over our lifetime. The mind, the mental body, is the bit that actually connects to the next level of the soul. So we have a higher and a lower aspect of our mind. And we can think about this in the way that we develop our own intelligence, and the way that we use and concretely examine our environment using our five senses. So obviously when we're very young, our mental apparatus, our thoughts aren't developed enough, but we're curious, we want to find out things, we want to see how things feel, how they look, we're using our senses. And as we get older, we start to develop our brain, we go through education, as good and as bad as you feel that is, and through our own curiosity, we examine the world, and we develop this ability to think and to question. And this is part of our intellect, which works in these five senses. Or in your handouts, if you relate to the diagram 4, the eye that looks like down into the physical world, it's examining what is there, what it can sense, what it can see. And as we as a species develop our scientific equipment, we're able to investigate this physical world more and more, learning more and more through deepening what senses can be sensed through this equipment. It obviously is limited because there's so much of the universe, multiverse world that we cannot sense. So this is where our abstract mind, our higher mind, the bit which connects us to our soul, which links us which is this principle that we're working on in alchemy, which is uniting our personality with our soul so that we're living our life in purpose. If we can start opening the higher faculties, being able to perceive the more abstract, the higher vibrational sensations of our world, we're able to be inspired. I'm using these two words today, your identity and your individuality. So as we open up to all possibilities, as we start to connect to our souls, we use the chitter chatter of our lower mind, able to see the truth beyond the veil, be able to see these or sense these finer vibrations. We are able to be inspired, and that inspiration is then able to be coloured by our individual soul, where we can receive that purpose which is unique to us, although we are all part of a collective soul, we're all part of one humanity, and then we start to look down into our physical realm, and then we start to bring it down. So being able to utilize both faculties, so the faculty of the lower mind, being able to develop our intellect, to understand the world, to master our physical bodies, to take care of our practical daily living, and then to be able to open up to to using our intuition, and then to gaining insight. So those are the two parts of our mental faculty. The work that we're going to be doing today is going to be on clearing this lower faculty, because our concrete mind can get very full of chatter. And it can get so full of chatter, to some people, it can even cause issues within even being able to think, you know? Like my mum quite often says, if my mum ever watches these YouTubes, she's going to be shocked how much I reference her. But she often says to me, I feel so addled today, I just don't know whether I'm coming or going. You know, this feeling of like not being able to work out what to do first, you know, not being able to even produce a thought of your basic living. When there is so much chatter, when there's so much busyness going on, we can't even just normally think, let alone all the other stuff that we're talking about in this course. So from the scale of our minds being very busy with chitter chatter to a lower level of being able to find peace but being occasionally distracted by busy thoughts, we have a whole sway of means that chitter chatter gets in the way. So if you turn to the next diagram, diagram 5, I'm trying to illustrate here, this is the diagram that I commonly use, and I'm using through the course of our it's sometimes called our lower self. I mean, I don't want you to think that higher and lower means that one is better and worse, but our mental, our emotional, and our physical faculty is the man in green, or woman in green, and the big blue one is our whole self, if you like. And if we get trapped in just seeing ourselves as this green person, then we're very much limiting, and we're stopping this channel and this true alchemy of our whole being. And as you see in this, the two main things that come from our mental faculty are just this chitter chatter, which is known in Sanskrit as chitter. It's a busyness. You know, it may be fueled by thoughts of the past, worries of the future. It may be a simple thing of, you know how sometimes you've watched something the night before and then you just find yourself thinking about it, or something you've read, or something, it's lodged in there, but it's somehow distracting you. And then there's also fixed beliefs. These limit our mental body, our lower body, from uniting with our lower mind with our higher mind. Because if we see ourselves with all these limitations, then we can't possibly break them all completely down and construct something new or allow something in. So, and we're all on a scale from having very, very extreme fixed beliefs where nothing is going to shift us, and from having a few things, patterns that has been ingrained from our childhood that we might need to look at. And there are a few questions in your handouts that we will have. I will kind of try and tease them out through the yin practice today, but then maybe you can go afterwards and take yourself for a coffee or tea and have a little bit of a think about them for yourself. So these fixed beliefs, this is kind of links us to our persona, the masks that we put on for everyone else. This is a Jungian way of describing things, which is subtly different from the esoteric. But the personality can be correlated to the persona. It's the kind of thing you want people to see of you. You know, whether you want to be, glamorous, and you want everyone to see you as glamorous, so it would be awful if you went out without your lipstick or your nail varnish. I know that's a number of you in the class here, so that might be one you want to look at. Yeah? So the other thing is, it could be anything from being... how some people get trapped in liking drama. They enjoy drama, that every time you say, how are you? You get this long stream of these new drama that's come up in the last 24 hours from you when you last spoke to this person. Sometimes, I'm a mother and I find myself, it is stressful, but then I catch myself putting out that persona of stressed mama. Do you know what I mean? And then that isn't who I am. That may be a role that I'm playing at the moment because I have young kids and it's part of my current identity, but it's not who I am. It's just merely my role. So there is an exercise here to start having a think about what roles you play. And if you just take a moment, just to think about the masks you put on and the essential roles. You know, I have kids, so I can't deny my role at the moment is as a mother. You know, I can't just go, oh, geez, it's just an illusion. It's just, you know, lower plane stuff. I'm not good. That's not really where I am. But that is a role I have to play. I am as a mother. I play a role as a yoga teacher. And then we try and start to tease out those other aspects. Those, okay, what other masks do you play? Are you trying to play your happy-go-lucky? You know, some people, you know, try and put out they're always happy, but of course they can't always be happy because no one is always happy. There's always light and shade. And that might be you. You might like to be seen as a hippie, you know. God forbid she would wear heels, you know. That would be awful for your ego. So just have a think. Just quickly list the roles that you play, whether it's what you work as, your kind of role you play with your friendship group or with your peers, and the role, you know, if you do have kids, or whether you take this role of child, regardless of how old you are. You can just quickly list them there, and then we will tease out through the practice kind of why you play these roles. And my intention from this class is kind of to link back to last week's class a little bit, and to seeing the things that we actually do, and the roles that we play right now. Like, do they actually correlate to our core values? And one of the exercises from last week, if you did it, was about trying to really work out what your core beliefs were. You know, what truly has value to you. And then perhaps after the class, when you go through, then, you know, actually the activities that you do, and identify why you do things. You know, actually, could you do that differently that would be more in line with your core values? Could there be a different way of doing things? Okay, so I am driving my children around X number of times. This is making me stress. Why do I do this? Because I feel that my kids have to have like a good education. I want them to do worthwhile things, but I am a stressed demonic mother, and that is my new persona that I'm putting out in the world. Is that really what I want to be doing? Could I do things differently? You know, I can only use my examples because it's not fair for me to pick on someone else. Why do I work in a certain job? That might be why I do that, because I need to earn money, but maybe there's another way. You know, money is a condensation of love. If we are actually acting truthfully, in line with our core purpose, then love flows, and that money will come. We just have to be living that way, and it's fear that stops us. So we looked at fear a little bit last week. So there are lots of different things that influence why we do things, and they're quite often these thought patterns that then create a certain pattern that we live in. A way that we live. You know, some things that we do, they, you know, like drinking coffee, doing drugs, you know, all of that stuff, that might just be a physical addiction, but a lot of the time it's a habit. You know, a lot of the time it's like, okay, it's 11 o'clock, you know, work is depressing, kids are depressing, whatever, I'm going to try and have something that's going to stimulate me. I'm going to have something sweet because I need more sweetness in my life. You know, some of you might crave hot and spicy things. You know, it's literally you're craving something spicy in your life. You know, you need some sexy time. You need something, you know, adventurous. You need more kind of. And so we break things down and start to look at why we're doing things, why we're thinking things. And then we can actually, hopefully through the practice, I want to do this today, let's leave all of those things that we do, those thoughts that influence what we do, below us, and let's just look at them. Let's see what we could be. If we do play this role of hippie, stressed mama, could we be something else? You know, what would it be like to wear red lipstick and go around in high heels, you know, and start chatting up all the married men? You know, what would that feel like? I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do. But I'm just saying anything is possible. And actually, when you start to see the world and your life in that way, that okay, all of these are just thought constructs. All of these are just the cage that I've created for myself. I could do anything. And then through starting to break down those thought patterns, we get past this lower analytical mind and we start to get into our abstract mind. We start to actually become intuitive. And the very last diagram on your handout is a diagram of what individuality is. So if you see in that diagram, we have at the top bar is our infinite oneness. This is where everything is. This is the highest vibration of highest plane of existence. And on the bottom is our physical reality, where all of the diversity of all these thought forms come into play. So we have these two aspects, which are sometimes known as the father and mother. They're sometimes called light and matter. They're sometimes called heaven and earth. They're sometimes called the physical plane and the divine plane. Regardless, to become a true individual, these two bars need to be connected. And this is where the I comes from. This is your capital I of your to become a true individual. And this channel here, this central channel that connects us through our heart center, or the higher heart center, if you see the diagram of your whole self, is your soul. So this soul consciousness, which gives you your unique soul expression, is able to transcend down into physical reality. But you're able to connect up through the collective soul and into that oneness of anything is possible. So that is being a true individual. It's nothing to do with your identity or who you think you are. Becoming an individual is expressing your unique gifts, free from those chitter chatter and conditioned beliefs of your past lives. So yeah, that was 15 minutes of something that probably should have been dealt with in about 3 weeks. But we will try to get a gauge of some of these things through a yin yoga practice today. So we will be trying to we're going to be trying to see how busy we actually are, using techniques to calm some of that chitter chatter, and then start questioning some of these beliefs that we hold within, start chiseling away of them or dissolving them or however they go away, and using meditation. I don't want to feel like a Jehovah's Witness of meditation. Meditation is the real key to creating that connection with your individuality. You know, it requires work, it requires some daily effort. We can't just kind of hope that we're just going to become enlightened, or it's going to just, we're going to understand the world, the universe. For some people that does happen, for some souls who've done an awful lot of work in their past lives, but for most of us, it's little and often. You know, 5 minutes meditation. For those of you who kind of go off into the space anyway, 5 minutes is plenty. For those of you who are very deeply connected to the earth, a bit longer that will be needed to clear some of the chatter and to raise the vibration up a little bit. But you yourself know yourself best. And we avoid it because we don't like it. It makes us feel uncomfortable. We're like bored by it. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not something you talk about, you know, really with most people. You know, oh, how are you today? Oh, I had an amazing meditation this morning. Just got this impression of my life glowing in an orb. And it was there. And, you know, you don't have that. People say, you know, it's the weather awful. You know, that's not our general conversation. But we can keep that with us regardless of what's going on in our daily lives, and we don't reject our daily lives. It's very much part of the divine. So, without further ado, we will begin just using your block or your bolster to sit on. If you've been cross-legged, give your legs a shake out and recross them another way. If cross-legged doesn't feel good, then try kneeling or extend your legs out. And just take a few shoulder rolls and forwards if you've gone backwards. or maybe a few movements of the neck, just to remind yourself you do have this amazing physical body. And start closing your eyes and start to come into your breath and watch your breath. Bring your chin to neutral, shoulders up and back and down. Summon your first finger together and bring your palms upwards on your knees or on your lap in a kind of a gesture of receiving. And just start to watch your breath. You can slightly extend the exhale and slightly inhale a little deeper. And with the exhale, just start to let go. Of any of the busyness that you've come in with, any of the need of chatter, of the lists. Turning your gaze inwards and upwards to your third eye. Trying to keep this as your fixed focus. You can even imagine yourself breathing into that center. Breathing up the nostrils into the third eye, and then exhale out the third eye. Into the world. And just observe. Can you just keep this as your one-pointed focus? What distracts you? What takes you away from this one point? One-pointed focus is like a muscle we have to exercise. Keep going for one more minute and just seeing when you get distracted, bring yourself back to that breath and that third eye focus. And just note in your mind what it was you got distracted by. Just like make a little note. Take a big inhale and exhale through the mouth. And let that go. And now let's root ourselves through our sits bones, through our creative imagination, exhaling through our spine, down out our sits bones into the earth, creating those roots, those foundations into our physical being, into that which nourishes us, that which supports us, that where trust is found. And draw up all the trust you can muster. And draw that up through your vertical spine, that connecting channel between the earth and the heaven aspects of your being. As you look up through third eye, as you bring that nourishment through your body, as you gaze upwards through the crown, as you open up into infinite. Infinite oneness. And just feel and allow the light to fall down through your crown into your third eye, into your heart, down to your belly. Releasing the chains around courage, determination, strength, and down into your hips and your pelvis, and back down into the earth. And as you bring that energy back up from the earth, back up to third eye, back to one of our seats of our souls, our center of intuition, we set our intention to clear our mind's eye. We set our intention to enable us to see fully. To let go of all those things that limit us. So that we can live freely and fully and purposefully. Bringing our hands together at heart center, sounding a single Om for this intention. Inhale and exhale. Inhale for Om. Feeling that vibration in your heart. And then bring your palms to your core, into your core. You know, our mind is our powerhouse of our whole body. This is our physical manifestation of that power center. And exhale, release. Just release your legs and bring your soles of your feet. Bring your legs out, just shake your legs out. Give them a pat, give them a sweep. And then bring the soles of the feet together. So a nice wide diamond here, a good foot away from your groin. And we're just going to draw our chest through and then exhale round. Use your breath, inhale and exhale. Closing your eyes, gazes inwards and upwards. And with every exhale, let go of all that holding. Now we are using these classes to separate the three aspects of our personality. Of course, the three are completely interwoven through the etheric system. You know, our thoughts create emotions, and we discussed that last week. So with the exhale, let go of whatever thought is creating an emotional reaction that's limiting you at the moment. And then come back to center. With your eyes closed, still take circles with your spine and your pelvis. So you've still got a bit of a cat-cow movement as you come backwards. Your chin comes down. As you come forwards, your chin comes up. Arching and curving the spine. And then reversing the movement, using the repetitive movement to start to calm the mind. Using nice long breaths. again, to give your monkey mind something to focus on doing, so you can't go back into story and back to center. You're going to come into a butterfly hold, either simply dropping your head or bending your elbows and balming your eyes and your palms, or using a bolster or a block on your feet, a blanket or whatever equipment you have to hand. You know, if you're licking your toes, lucky you, doesn't mean you're enlightened, it just means you're flexible. And these simple poses, you know, they challenge our mind because quite often in the way that we've been raised, we want something exciting. And this butterfly pose is not very exciting, yeah? So with the exhale, see if you can soften. You'll be naturally clenching somewhere, like a holding. And with each exhale, you soften a little more. You allow yourself to feel a little more fully. We start to engage a little Ujjayi breath, which isn't standard practice with yin yoga practice. We'll use this Ujjayi breath just to be like a hum. So if Ujjayi, which is like a slight constriction with your throat, like they say it's like an ocean roar, but it's more like a snore, if you ask me. Doesn't feel good, you can also have just a little hum. Keep going, exhaling, allow the either Ujjayi breath or the hum to calm the mind. Some of us will notice we don't want to do it, perhaps because we're bothered if someone next to us doesn't think we're humming properly. Just remember, if someone next to you thinks that you're not humming properly, it's definitely their issue. It's definitely not anything to do with you. Think of how many things you haven't done because you're worried what someone might think of you. Now, of course, in our society we do have boundaries, we do have limitations, we have laws, we have regulations, and in theory they're to keep us safe. But there's other societal norms that are unspoken, unwritten, that we still try to adhere to. Last minute here, so if it's too strong for you, any of you are pregnant, you might want to bring in some movement as well. Any of you with any hip or pelvis issues, again, you might need to bring some movement in. Eye gaze inwards and upwards. Humming away all your boundaries. All those things that limit you, all those things that stop you, all those things that prevent you from actually taking the path you truly want to walk. And stopping the humming, just come into stillness in this pose just for the last half a minute. Allowing your breath to bring your awareness and bring in freedom into the places that you're experiencing tension right now. Try and soften with that exhale. Let go of the fear of whatever that holding is due to. One more breath. Take an inhale, take an exhale through the mouth. And then rounding your spine, coming up. Moving away your props if you're using them. Moving away anything you're sitting on as you draw your knees upwards. Rotating your feet. And again, shake out your legs. Take any movement that feels good for you. And then we're going to come over onto our hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees underneath hips. Exhale, rounding the spine, dropping the head. Inhale, dropping your belly. Pucker those lips. Can you make the best cow impression? Yeah, do you care what people think? Yeah, a little bit, or not at all. Exhale, cat. How do you meow best? Meow. Very quiet cat. How do you move? Moo. Yeah, better. Exhale, now we get into it. Cat. Meow. Yeah. Let's do a moody cow. Moo. Yeah. Angry cat. Yeah. Happy cow. Moo. And a happy cat. And then any movements that feels nice. You know, do you have those kind of a feeling within inside of yourself, like it maybe even come from school? No, I shouldn't really pretend to be a cow because, you know, I'm over 5 years old. Yeah? Taking any movement. What would it feel like just to go down the street dancing like a chicken if you felt like it? Yeah? Who cares? Right? Maybe that is my purpose, to make people laugh. And then coming back to neutral. So we're going to do a kind of a rabbit variation. I'll give you a few options. So the standard one, and if you don't have if you're not pregnant, don't have a baby, this definitely will be okay for you. You put your forehead down onto the ground, holding onto your ankles. Find a way of coming up towards your the crown of your head. Now, if you do have a baby, it's much better to open your knees a lot wider. And you may find it better to hold onto your thighs to make the space. Or you might be able to just rest your arms alongside you with the palms up. Anyone with any neck issues, just come into a straightforward child here. So our eye gaze is inwards and upwards towards our third eye. And we're breathing actively up into that centre as we start to invert things. We start to draw our energy up from our lower triangle to our higher triangle. So our lower triangle aspires upwards. It's almost like open to receiving. And our higher triangle is our higher self looking down towards ourselves, trying to communicate with ourselves. But until we're open, we can't bring those two triangles together. Until we've cleared some of the mind, we've cleared the emotions and the mind, that's just not going to happen.
as much as we aspire, until those two bodies are a little bit more clear, we're going to be inhibited or even in a little bit of danger. When this pose becomes too strong for you, just come back into a child with your arms alongside your legs, with your forehead on the ground. Otherwise, we're here for another minute, taking advantage of this inversion, physically bringing blood up to the brain, bringing more of that life force through the blood, up prana, chi, up to the higher centers of your throat and of your third eye and your crown. And physically, we have our tension here of our neck and of our upper spine. You know, how we don't express ourselves fully, you know, and that comes from thoughts, you know. Thoughts we don't want to be heard, we're worried what people might say about how we've said things. You know, do we have issues really communicating fully, truly? Or does it just come out with emotion later on? If you're still in the inverted pose, come back into child. And if you're in child, stay there. If you're not pregnant, you can have your knees together, and if you are pregnant, your knees are very much open. You can use a block, you can use a bolster. You can have your head to one side, or you can simply rest your forehead on the mat. If there's too much pressure on your head, then you do need a block. Try and relax the hips, use the breath to soften the pelvis. Bring it right down into the belly. Have a little wriggle maybe. And then come into stillness. Eye gaze is still inwards and upwards. What are those fixed beliefs that are driving a lot of the things you do? I mean, how you eat, how you exercise, you know. We can get into different patterns of eating through beliefs, whether it's overly healthy or overly convenient or all of one colour or, I don't know, only hot or only cold. I used to have almost a panic attack if I didn't have an apple in my bag, because I believed if I didn't have the apple in my bag, I would somehow starve, which is ridiculous. But these thoughts are created through our lives and through lots of different reasons, which we don't have to psychoanalyze. We just say, okay, I somehow have this belief. You know, I'm obviously not going to starve if I don't have an apple in my bag. It's actually going to be okay. Yeah. You know, what drives why you exercise or what type of exercise. You know, I should do my 10,000 steps or whatever this Fitbit tells us to do. And then scientific knowledge tells us that actually 2 minutes of high intensity exercise a week is better than 10,000 steps a day. Oh my God, is that true? That's not true. I'm going to check that out. I don't believe that. 2 minutes. I can do 2 minutes. And some of you are just lazy. You'd be like, exercise is just wearing the body out. My couch is good. This pose is nice. And some of you be like, this pose is boring. Yeah, you watch those thoughts, watch those beliefs. Taking an inhale and exhale. And then coming up to hands and knees to find your own expression in hands and knees. Your own movement that needs to happen. Notice if you're lightheaded. Just take it slow. And then when you're ready, tucking your toes, coming into a down dog. And again, a little inversion. So our head is down, our bum is up, we're wriggling our bums, checking out what it's like to be a dog. No? No, I don't do dogs. I do cats and I do cows, but I don't do dogs. And then lifting your right leg up, seeing if you can pretend you're weeing like a dog. No. And then your left side. Then right side. Lifting, making big circles. Let's try that woof again. See how liberating it is to, do something you don't normally do. Yeah? Not helping myself, am I? So walking your feet into the middle, walking your hands to meet your feet. Pregnant people, your feet are wide. Unpregnant people, your feet are underneath your hips. Your feet are parallel or slightly pigeon-toed. We're going into that dangle again, keeping that inversion. Take a big inhale, your body lifts a little bit, and exhale, fold your arms and allow yourself to dangle. Empty your head. Empty your head. Let it flow out. Let all those thoughts that generate worry, anxiety, fear fall out your head. I talk a lot about these emotions, but I can't stress how much that if we don't deal with that emotional baggage which relates to the thought patterns, we're not going to get anywhere with our own inner alchemy, unless we want to end up in some kind of mental neurosis. Taking a big inhale and exhale. You know how you meet those, they're kind of crazy people, but they kind of say some strangely enlightened things. Do you know those type of people? I don't know if we have many around here, but definitely where I used to come from, there was a lot. And it was like they're on the path. They've got a lot of truth, but none of it's grounded. None of it's founded in the earth. It's not rooted. It's dangerous. It's like a live wire. So we have to address these two components. And again, like doing our meditation, it requires a little bit of work, shaking our head. What could I be if I wasn't this persona I was today? Which would be the first one I try? Would I like to, could I be that glamorous woman or man? Can I always wear a suit and a bow tie, or can I always wear a glamorous dress? Look like I'm dressed for the occasion, even when it's 9:30 in the morning. There's so many different ways we can live our life. How would it feel to live somehow completely different? What one would you choose? If you were to get rid of your wardrobe, not the actual physical wardrobe, the stuff inside the wardrobe, what would you go and buy? Something completely different. Release your hands down, come into elephant pose. Shift the weight into your hands, so your hands are no more than a foot away from your feet. You're leaning into your hands as much as into your feet. Shaking your head like your head is the trunk. Feel your palms connecting with that ground. Feel any vibration through the legs. Imagine yourself, being that hippie if you always dress up. Being that slob if you're always smart. Being smart if you're always slobby. Exercising if you never exercise. Stopping the need to exercise if you're an exercise addict. And be honest with yourself. Eating something different. Oh, I could have something different from this white bread and ham sandwich I have every single day. What would it be like to make a nice quinoa and avocado, spinach, and Buddha bowl, etc., etc. Last minute here. Focus on your breath, just like your initial meditation, inwards up to the top of your nose, exhale out through third eye into the world. If you're open to possibilities, no matter how ridiculous they are, that line of inspiration, of insight, of intuition develop, be more open. If you're limited by, well, I can only do this, well, I can only do it if I'm dressed a certain way or I have time to do X, Y, and Z. Last 2 breaths. And then bending the knees, feet still underneath the hips, coming into a toe balance. Supporting yourself with your fingers to start with. And just allow the blood to drain from your head. Focus at the end of your mat. And then when you feel ready, coming into a full toe balance with your hands at heart center. Your shoulders drawn back, with your crown reaching up. Focusing on just that one point. Whenever the mind wanders, come back to just that point. Life always happens around us, but if we can keep that focus, a simple thing in our daily life, if we intend, what's the phrase is segment your day, segment intention. So we say, okay, now I'm brushing my teeth. I am brushing my teeth well. How many of us actually brush our teeth and focus on brushing our teeth? Most of us are thinking about something completely different other than focusing on brushing our teeth. How do you know you're brushing your teeth well if you're not actually there brushing your teeth? You're somewhere else, yeah? Okay, now I've finished brushing my teeth. Now I intend that I'm going to go downstairs and pack my bag, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. See if you can close your eyes for even a moment. And then focus on that point. Either replacing your hands down or slowly releasing your knees down onto the mat. Lift your hips up for a small moment of break. You've still got this toe stretch. And then exhale, sit back if your knees allow. Oh, nice. Shoulders back, close those eyes, breathe into those toes. Soften the face, try not to scowl. Your poor toes, ignored because you've been too busy at a spin class. Because it's only your bum that matters, yeah? Last 2 breaths. See if you can exhale through the mouth, let go. Inhale, lift up. Release your toes one by one, circle those ankles. Release your hands onto your hips. Take some circles one way, the other way. And then bring your hands to the back of your spine, drawing that line up through your legs, opening your chest, able to show yourself for who you are. So take 3 breaths like this in this camel pose, opening this heart, this chest. 2 and 3, coming into wide-legged child with your arms forwards this time. And now see what's flowing through your body. Can you feel that etheric body now? Can you feel that energy circulating? Can you start to perceive deeper and higher than what our 5 senses normally perceive? Can you feel yourself as vibratory as well as form? Can you see that you are more than you perceive? You're more than scientific equipment enables you to understand yourself. Ask yourself, why do I do these things I do? Who would I be if I didn't do them? And from this position, we're going to walk our hands over to our right hand side. So taking a side stretch here. You might bring a bolster that might help you to almost rest over that bolster. So you're stretching your left side body as you reach to your right. I'm going to take 5 breaths here. Freeing up our intercostals, our ability to change direction, to keep agile. Last one. Big breath in, exhale. Through the mouth, walk your hands, maybe even your bolster over to the left hand side, stretching the right side body. Take big breaths. Last 2. Last 1. Moving away the bolster, come back to center. Come into your hands and knees, release your pelvis. Release your spine, your shoulders, any movement. And then coming onto your bottoms. And take your bolster to one side of you, make sure you have that handy. Support yourself as you come onto your back, with your knees bent and the soles of the feet on the floor. I'm going to grab the bolster as you lift your bum off the ground. Bring the bolster underneath your hips. Bring your legs into the air. Bring your arms out to your sides with your palms facing up. If anyone is over 30 weeks pregnant, just listen to your body with this one. Legs upside down is good for everyone. Because quite often our blood gets pooled and stagnated in our feet, just like sometimes we get stagnated in our physical limits, in our practical limits, in what's going on in our lives. So if we literally turn them upside down, we're taking all of that stagnation, we're drawing it back to the heart and allowing it to be re-pumped around the body, redistributed, converted, re-energized. Eye gaze inwards and upwards. Still with that intention to clear this space. Create space in this mental body. Enable you to see the full picture. See why you do things, why you don't do things. See what you could do. Be open to new impressions. Looking into that blackness, that point, that central point of the third eye, where our gaze naturally rests, open to all possibility.
As we talked about last week, things challenge us. You know, the story challenges us. It creates emotional responses. Everything will be okay. It's part of my journey, part of my path. Allowing all of those perceived limitations, those perceived things that are frightening or fearful, just to dissipate as you soften your hands, as you soften your fingers, as you soften your arms and your chest and your shoulders. As you allow your whole body to be held by the bolster and by the ground. You feel weightless with those legs. And if you don't, it might be because your feet aren't above your hip joints. If it does become a strain, if you're distracted because it's straining, then bend your knees. Otherwise, just keep your breath flowing. With every exhale, let go, surrender to the path, to the journey. Allowing lightness to infiltrate all points of darkness. You know, I talked about our persona, the mask that we put up, and behind our mask is our consciousness, is our true self, and behind that we hide our shadow. We don't want to acknowledge it as part of us. This idea of perfection, what is perfection? We're human beings. We're here having this physical experience. We are both earthly and divine. We have the most potent power because we have these minds. You know, of all the animal kingdoms, it's our minds that are most developed. We are the bridge between those, the spiritual realms and the earthly realms. So how can we use this amazing tool? Yes, we can read. Yes, we can learn through study. But how else do we develop this faculty? Through meditation, through one-pointed focus, through opening to abstract thought, to this level of intuition and insight that comes beyond study. It's our own deeper wisdom, our own deeper knowing. And then finally through service. Not through servitude, not through surrendering to a master, through serving ourselves through humanity. And that uses our minds to create and to make and to live life with purpose, spontaneously. Imagine being spontaneous. You thought you were going to go to the market after to buy X, Y, and Z, but maybe you could do something different. Drive yourself to the airport, buy yourself the first ticket to the next place that the next plane is leaving. Meet the man or woman of your dreams. Bump into someone who's going to give you a book deal. So you don't even have to go to work. You can just write on this desert island with this man or woman of your dreams, eating coconuts all day, leaving behind all your toddlers, all your babies, all your woes, all your teenage kids, all your issues. Taking a big breath and exhaling. Spread your toes. See if you can move your middle toe, your ring toe, or a little toe, your big toe. Rotating your ankles. Wiggling your fingers and your wrists. And then slowly bending your knees and slowly allowing your knees to come to your chest. You give them a little hug. If you have a baby, open your knees, draw your knees into your armpits. Just feel the sensations in your toes and your legs. Drawing the soles of your feet up to the sky, opening your knees, holding onto your feet or your ankles, and just drawing those knees into your armpits. Taking a 3-minute hold here, watching your breath, looking inwards and upwards. Again, your breath goes up to your third eye. Exhale, you clear. Rise your vibration and allow it out into the world. Softening your hips, softening your knees, softening your face. Feeling the freedom of your breath, even in challenging situations, even in times when the mind kicks in. Use the breath to tether your monkey mind, to secure yourself back to that place of peace, which links you to that clear channel of being your unique individual. I am not this persona. I am more than this mask. I'm greater than my limitations. I am infinitely wise. I am all knowingness within me without even opening a book. Your arms getting a little drain of the blood as they're holding onto the feet. If it becomes too strong, just bring your ankles towards your bum and hold on to your knees. Otherwise, just keep breathing. Keep tethering your mind to that breath and keep allowing that channel to open to all impressions. And in our aspiration, we must aspire to the highest divine plane. All the other realms in between, yeah, we might be able to receive psychic impressions from. We may be able to channel people not informed. We may be able to have conversations with X, Y, and Z. But just as on earth, as in heaven, some people always are jerks, even if they're not in body. So if you're having a conversation with something that you think is ascended master, yeah, just double check with yourself. Have you gone to the highest plane? And if you're not sure, then don't listen to it. Don't engage with it. Go beyond, go to the place where you know. Don't succumb to those astral impressions of the lower. And then everyone's releasing their legs, drawing their knees back into their chest.
Now see how you go. You can go two ways down. You can either re-support your back by placing your feet on the floor and moving your bolster, or you might just be able to wriggle off your bolster and rocking side to side, holding your knees into your back, moving your knees around in circles to massage the top of your pelvis and your bottom. Take a big inhale and a big exhale. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms in any way that you want to. You know, you can even imagine you're that contemporary dancer that you've always wanted to be. Or maybe you never realised it, but actually, that is you. And draw your both knees to your left. Extend your right arm out to the right. If your shoulders come off the ground, then grab a bolster and put your bolster underneath your knees. And then go back to the twist. Right arm out. Left knee, knees towards the left, looking towards the right. Allow your spine to be long. Feel the twist. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Changing sides if you haven't changed. Moving that bolster if you need to. And I'm focusing on that spine, lengthening the spine. With your inhale, exhaling down your spine. That spine is your physical, manifested reality of that channel between physical and divine, matter and light. Last 2 breaths. And back, inhaling, knees up. Rocking again. Seeing how the spine feels. So we're going to use our bolster for our last yin hold. We're going to lie on our bolster along the spine. Allow a hand between your bottom and the end of the bolster. Or further if you have back issues. Your soles of your feet together and your arms out nice and wide. If you need another bolster, then grab another bolster. Another couple of blocks, whatever you need. And palms are facing up to the sky. Taking a big inhale and exhale through the mouth. We need to use our mind to actively imagine ourselves getting lighter. So with each inhale, with each exhale, imagine a layer of cloud or a layer of almost dirt. I'm not saying you're dirty. Washing off. Inhale, you're drawing in more whiteness, more lightness.
Taking nice smooth breaths. With each inhale, drawing in that light. With each exhale, letting go of the heaviness, the darkness. Making yourself feel brighter with every inhale. More open, more receiving. More connected. Rise above your daily life as you see it right now. Rise up above the situations that you see binding you, constraining you right now. And see yourself limitless. See yourself infinite. See yourself wise and all-knowing. Eye gaze inwards and upwards. See yourself greater than all these parts. Feel your power within. And true power comes from the union of our power centers, our heart and our mind, and our crown, our ability to receive, our ability to use our mind, to apply our mind to create thoughts and to galvanize it all in love, in union, in loving for our fellow person, our fellow being on this planet, whether it's animal, whether it's plant, whether it's mineral, for all who live on this earth. Even at an atomic level, we have soul consciousness. If it's not comfortable for your hips or you are pregnant, please do release your legs out straight. Otherwise, we just remain with this open palmed mudra, with our heart open to fully feeling, to fully expressing, with our core fully motivated through those centers of heart and mind. And our mind to be clear, open to receiving that through the crown needs to be received, to interpreting fully, and then to bringing it down, galvanizing with love, and then into our power center, our fire center, in action and in doing. And our days may not be glamorous, they may be normal and average, but we can fill them with love. We can fill them with purpose. We can be truly inspired every day and every moment of every day if we allow that. If we sink back into the peace, which is our natural state, our natural place, and through that peace, all thoughts, all emotions, all physical issues disintegrate. We feel that light within us. We feel free from the limits of the physical, of the emotional, of the mental. Imagine yourself as that capital I, feeling your feet fully rooted in the earth, feeling your crown fully connected to the heavens, fully enlightened by that purest light. And feel your soul communicating to you through your heart, through your mind, and then in action through your core. Feel yourself glowing bright, radiating white. Feeling yourself connected to all souls everywhere. Every single one of great value, of great purpose. And gazing inwards and upwards, just simply asking, what is my purpose right now? And listening. Taking a big inhale, exhaling through your mouth. Taking a higher perspective, just looking down on yourself and seeing yourself in this body, on this mat, in this room. Feeling how the body feels as you release your legs if you haven't already. Noticing how your physical self feels. Before rolling onto your left side, moving away the bolster. And just take everything into a safe kind of fetal position. Seeing yourself as a seed of potency and power to grow into anything. And only you know what you will grow into, what love you'll share. What service you will offer humanity.
Keeping your eyes closed, taking that seed with you as you come to sitting. And using your block or your bolster. Finding yourself back in meditative position. This time with our hands down. Let's draw ourselves down from that abstract realm into that concrete realm. As we feel that connection with our physical body, as we see ourselves as unique. Unique expressions of oneness. Through our DNA, through our history, through our soul. Breathing down into the earth, rooting yourself deeply. A child of the earth. This is where we're born, this is where we're meant to be, this is our home. We accept our placement, and then when our placement moves, when we are placed somewhere else, we listen to that call and we move. We change our persona, our personality. We adopt new roles. We take on new expressions. We eat differently when our body needs different foods. We have different treatments, different practices as our body changes. We listen to our needs as we age in this body. As we learn, as we develop our minds, we are able for more, greater service. Feeling the openness of your mental body now. As you come back to the initial meditation, inhaling up to third eye and exhaling out. Taking a minute of this simple breath. Inhaling up to third eye and then out into the world. The clearer this mental body is, the more potent your power is. Your ability to manifest, ability to create. It's not all easy. We're not all Zen masters all the time. Three more breaths. Taking a big inhale, exhale through your mouth. Sounding 3 ohms. Taking an inhale and exhale. And listen for our response. Inhale for 3 ohms. Bring your hands
At heart center in Anjali Mudra prayer gestures, feeling the balance of the left and the right polarities. Feeling the beat of our heart and our physical. Feeling our king of emotions. Feeling the connection between our heart and our mind. And then to our core. Recognizing ourselves. Namaste. Thanks very much, everyone. Next week we're looking. We're going to be doing a trippy class on soul consciousness. So, developing the 3 classes we've done so far to try and really we'll do a few meditations to try and develop that connection with our soul a little more deeply than the ones we've been doing so far. Have a lovely week. See you.
Thank you.